Welcome to Uncomfortable, conversations about culture and Christianity. My name is Eric, and today I'm joined by Rachel.
Hello.
And Alex.
What it do?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining me here in this virtual world of the internet. Today we are going to be talking about disappointment, especially in this pandemic season. People are kind of surrounded by disappointing things. Plans have been changed for a lot of people. Specifically today, Alex had an opportunity to sit down with a couple different people. Colton, who is a graduating high school senior, so we'll get to hear that perspective, as well as Chad, who lost his job amidst this pandemic. So it's two kind of different perspectives on what disappointment is looking like right now. But I think they're both really valuable perspectives. Alex, did you have what was your experience like? Did you feel good about hearing? Were there surprises or anything like that we should look forward to in these conversations?
I don't know about surprises, but it was interesting to hear both of these guys' perspectives. I'm pretty far removed from high school, so especially Colton's conversation just brought me back to thinking about a lot of those things I guess I hadn't even considered as far as what it would be like to be a high schooler and my senior year, and he's got some interesting things in his story too that just affect, and maybe it's bad for everybody, but just other things he's looking forward to as far as repeating as a state champion in baseball and things like that. And so I think it's a great story, and I loved getting to hear from him. So all right, Colton, hey, thanks for joining us today on the podcast. You're probably not a face everybody in the world knows that listens to our podcast, because we're not that cool of people. But I'd love to have you just introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about who you are, your family, how long you've been at CCC, and then we'll kind of roll from there.
Yeah, thanks for having me, by the way. And my name's Colton Smith, and I'm a senior at Bennington this year. And I had both my parents, Brian and Jen, and then I have an older brother who's 19 and an older sister who's 21. And I've been going to CCC for as long as I can remember, since I could talk, really. So we've been involved in the church, and it's been awesome growing up there and having that community. It's been great. Yeah.
And so I know your dad's been, on the elder board, and your family's been a part of the church for a long time. And he's one of those people that has kind of always had a mission. You love baseball. He loves baseball, and you guys have kind of always used that as a family. He's coached you, kind of growing up, right? And you guys have used that as like a way to build community and all that kind of stuff. And in Bennington, how's baseball kind of played into your life and in your faith?
It's been a ride. It's been super fun. Growing up, having my dad coach me and teach me starting super young, just like the fundamentals of the game. And then as I've gotten older, him just teaching me, getting deeper into the game and just seeing different perspectives from it, and just helping me grow as an athlete and as an individual, because baseball is a platform. It's more than just a game. It's representing yourself and representing your team. So he's helped me find a bigger picture with baseball, just becoming a better person in general. So he's had a big influence in my life with baseball and things outside of baseball. But it's been a very unforgettable childhood, just with him being by my side through this whole process. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Like, I'm coaching my son last year, his first grade team, and then this year supposed to be coaching his second grade team, and it's been fun because they're all kids from the same school, and so we've been looking forward to building that community and kind of trying to copy a little bit of what your dad's done and building that community for you guys. So you're a senior in high school, and how's senior year ending?
Oh my gosh. It's just honestly something that I never in a million years would have expected. Like, it just doesn't even feel real, like, at times, just to think that, like, everything you've been looking forward to all of high school just gets put on hold, like, or just canceled. I mean, like, everything from, you know, our senior baseball season that we've been working for, like graduation, you know, graduation parties. I mean, I'm just like even the little things like walking the halls on the last couple of days of school. I mean, getting out of school earlier than everyone else and like kind of flexing on the underclassmen, like, oh, we're out of school, like all those things, like the last day of school. And I know at other schools they do things, but at Bennington, everyone drives their tractors to school on the last day of school. So it's just like little things like that. I mean, it's going to be hard not to have. It's just weird. But we are hoping that we can get some of those things in later on when all this blows over. But it's just kind of sad, kind of, you know, disappointing that all these things that we've been looking forward to that make high school fun and things that you will remember for the rest of your life we're not going to have. So it's a sad time, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. And I know for you specifically, like you love baseball, you play baseball. Last year, I don't know if it was the first time ever, but maybe the first time, Bennington won a baseball state championship, right?
First one. Yep.
Okay. And so go Badgers, and
sure.
you guys had a lot of your team back, right?
Oh man, we had, yeah.
And so what was it like to like know that you're working really hard, you've got a lot of your team back, going for a state title number 2. So not just any baseball season, but like a chance to repeat and do something that again has never been done, and kind of even leave your name in the history books at Bennington High School and go out with a bang. Like what was it like when and maybe it gradually happened to like start to realize everything we've worked for is just not going to happen right now?
Definitely disappointing. I mean, this group of guys is definitely something special. And it's been hard because the core group of these guys that are on the team right now have been playing with each other since we were young. And we worked all through the winter. We'd come in early before school. We'd stay after and get some more work in. So it's just hard for us to wrap our heads around all this hard work that we've been putting in through the winter and like all high school. It's just kind of down the drain just with the season getting canceled and defending state championship. And we had 9 guys coming back, like our whole infield, couple outfielders, our catcher, and most of them were juniors last year that were on the team. So we definitely had a lot of potential this year. Definitely had high hopes. So it's just hard to keep going knowing that we don't have the opportunity to defend that. So we're just hoping for Legion will get some sort of opportunity to play. We don't know yet. It's still on the fence. But us individually, we just keep working, keep lifting, keep throwing and hitting like we have a season, just to be prepared for whatever happens. But, I mean, I'm just glad we got it done last year. I mean, I just don't know if I would have been able to live with myself after, you know, not winning it last year with as far as we got in the group that we had. But definitely disappointing. I mean, it's every kid's dream to play on senior night, to play your senior season, because it's just those guys that you've been with for the past, you know, 10 plus years, some guys 5 plus, but I mean, it's still something that's a big letdown.
Yeah. And you guys, like you said, you're from a small town community, like everyone kind of the outskirts of Omaha. Not everyone drives. I went to Burke. We didn't drive tractors to school on our senior day. Yeah. And so there's just that unique small town community rallying around you guys, and probably just a different way than somewhere else. And so that's cool, but it also makes it even a little bit more sad and more grief to it, probably, because the whole community like gets to mourn a little bit with you. So like, what's it like you're not at school right now, but what's it like for like, what are you hearing from classmates, other teammates, their perspective on just all of this uncertainty, just even not knowing what's going to happen next? And how this thing just kind of snuck up out of nowhere? What's it like to be like a high school senior living through this? Because it's probably going to mark you for the rest of your life, at least the experiences and all those kind of things. A lot of professionals are saying this is like the 9/11 kind of situation for Gen Z. So take us through like the perspective yourself and what you're hearing from other people.
Yeah, so as I've been like talking with my friends and talking to other people, it's just we're all kind of on the same boat. Like it just came in out of nowhere. We're kind of just confused, frustrated. Yeah, it's nice to be able to sleep in and do your homework from home, but it's also, you we're all just thinking like, and we kind of took it for granted getting up early and seeing everyone every day at school, because it's like you walk down the hallway, you see your friends every day, you get to talk to them, you get to meet new people, have conversations that you wouldn't have if you were at home. So I think back and it's a different experience at home. I mean, you're not seeing your friends every day. You're not making new connections. You're not seeing the people that you build relationships with, like teachers, faculty, students, all of that. So the community there, it's hard not to have, especially when it comes to schoolwork. Being at home, it's a little bit harder because everything's online. So it's a little scattered. Before you could go in early and see a teacher, you could, get a lot of help there. But being at home, it's definitely a transition and it's getting smoother as we go, but it's still nothing like going to school every day and seeing your buddies. So it's hard. But I think, everyone that I've talked to, it's just, you don't realize it until it's gone. I mean, all these things, it's just something that some people took for granted and it's weird not having it. Yeah. So I think we're all just sad and disappointed because, I mean, some of these people, you talk to them for the last time, you didn't even know it. So it's just, it's weird. But like I said, we're hoping to, somewhat get a graduation in person. Hopefully it's not online. Hopefully we get to do it late July, early August, and be able to walk and see some of those people for the last time.
Yeah, hopefully so. So for you, knowing baseball is a big part of your life, like baseball is a big part of Omaha, right? It's like the CWS was canceled and that's kind of hit our economy and all those kind of things. And it's kind of a grieving more than just like people that played baseball. But I know for you, like you've got a career playing baseball, like after this, you're going to college, you're a pitcher and you've got some opportunities to move forward. But what's that look like? What's that look like as somebody who's a recruit and going to college? Like what's that even looking like for the uncertainty? And are there weird things with what's this going to look like for people that are going to be seniors next year and maybe they get another chance? How like, what's that feeling like for you?
It's an interesting scenario, actually. So luckily I do have the opportunity to play in college. And I agree for those who, I mean, this was their year to get recruited. This was their year to get eyes on them. And with that opportunity being taken from them, obviously it makes it a lot harder, which is just weird for everyone. But I know the NCAA, they're giving the seniors in college this year an extra year of eligibility if they want it. And so for me next year, I talked to Coach Service at Creighton. I'm on the phone multiple times, and he said that our class won't be affected too much, that we'll still have lots of opportunities to showcase our skills. But it's definitely going to be different because there's going to be some dudes that are way older there. Because, I mean, we have I know one pitcher for sure. He's coming back for his 6th year of college.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting, I mean, for everyone, because right now the 2020s that are coming in next year, they're basically competing with other freshmen that would have been, sophomores, but they're kind of freshmen with the seniors coming back. So it's going to be weird because they've already had, a year of lifting, a year of being with the program, a year of, I mean, about 15 games of competing. So they have a lot of experience already. So, I mean, that just keeps me and the other guys working even harder, knowing that those guys have been working and been with the program. already. So, I mean, I just trust the coaches, and I trust that, we'll have plenty of opportunities to showcase our skills and prove what we've got. So I just know that I got to keep doing what I can do, control what I can control, and which is just working hard, taking care of school, lifting and throwing every day. And I mean, integrity is big. I mean, just doing what you can do, knowing that no one's watching. Because no one, I mean, you could sit on the couch and watch TV every day, but there's someone working out there, someone working while you're sitting on the couch. So I just keep that in the back of my head every day, and just keep working like coaches are watching me, like my teammates are depending on me, because I know that the other guys are out there working, and I'm competing with them at home every day. So it's just, what are you doing every day to get better? What are you doing that other people aren't doing? So just keeping those kind of things in the back of my head, it's keeping me motivated, just for the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's cool. So what about like your faith in the middle of this? Like, how's that been tested, challenged? Like personally, as you think about the obstacles of just not, nothing's ending as it expected, and really it's not starting as expected next year going into college. Like, how's that? How are you doing there? How's it just setting or affecting your faith?
So at first I was a little frustrated. I was confused, and I was just like, God, why would you let this happen? Like, this is a big time for everyone. It's people are losing money, people are losing jobs, businesses are tanking. So I was just kind of, bringing up the question, like, why? But I'm a big believer in God's got a plan. So I just, what keeps me at peace is knowing that everything happens for a reason. God does stuff that we may never know the answer to. We may never know, why is he doing this? Why is there so much hurt? Why is there so much pain? But what keeps me at peace is knowing that he's doing it for a reason, and he's got it all mapped out. He's got a plan, and we just have to trust in it. Even, have faith, not knowing what's going to happen or when is this going to roll over. We don't know, but we just have to trust in him that he's got a plan for us. It's all mapped out, and I just trust that, and that keeps me trusting him. It just keeps me at peace. It keeps me, it makes my relationship with him closer. It keeps it strong, just knowing that he's doing it. I got to trust in it. I can pray to him, and we still have that relationship. So, I mean, it's just a big trust thing, knowing that he's got the answers, and we just got to follow it.
Dude, I think that's so cool. As a dad of young kids, that's like the dream that has my kid's a senior in high school. If God forbid something like this would happen to him, that he's able to, like, the foundation that we're laying now to trust God and to see God's goodness and his faithfulness in this is all for hoping that one day when my kid's a senior, like you, and life just sucks. It's not fun. It's not easy. That they've got a perspective, because there's a lot of people that don't have that perspective, and they're drowning, or, they thought this was their shot and now they don't have a shot. And so depression starts to sink in, or you start to make poor decisions. You start to isolate yourself. And so, dude, that's such an encouragement to me, even to hear you as a senior in high school have that perspective and that trust in God. Because it's hard, in the middle of this, even in the midst of disappointment. So, yeah. Are there any other thoughts that you have for us before we head out? Like, what would you say to somebody that's in your situation, or a situation like yours, a way to find hope, to look forward, to not drown themselves in this?
Yeah, I mean, trust in the Lord. He's got a plan. Keep working every day like it's a last. You never know what's going to be taken from you. You never know when something else like this could happen. So, I mean, have fun, build relationships. I mean, work every day like it might get taken from you tomorrow. So I think that, this is a chance for people to really build a relationship with God and be able to trust him. So just keep trusting the Lord. He's got a plan. Work hard, have fun, and love people, love your family, spend time with them. I mean, this is a chance that you can really spend time with your family. And, you know, whether it's playing ping pong or watching TV, I mean, spend time with them and pray with them and pray for the people that are in trouble, that are in pain. Pray for them, pray for the community, pray for the, you know, elders, the older people, the younger people. Just have faith and know that he's got a plan.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate your time and even willingness to jump on here, share a little bit of your story. I know, like I said, there's a lot of people going through that. I hadn't even considered some of the things you said, like, man, this might be the last time I see some of my classmates ever, or even grieving, like waking up in the morning. I do not like waking up in the morning, you know, but when you have something to look forward to, if it's school, even small things like that, you begin to grieve in those relationships. And even if you don't like a teacher, all of a sudden you're like, man, I actually like them better than I thought because I miss them.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's so crazy. Well, thanks again for being a part of this today. I hope it's going to, you know, bless other people that are going through some of the same things and just have some of that perspective, because I don't think a lot of people know what it's like to be a senior in high school, because I'm old. I'm so far removed from that, but I can't imagine what it would have been like to not get to finish, you know, my senior year of basketball, or what that would look like for going into college and being able to play, and even scholarship wise and all that. So there's a lot of implications outside of just not going to school. And so you shed light on that. So thanks again for being here, man. And appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right. So there we have it. That was Colton's story. It's awesome for him to share that, be a little bit vulnerable with us. Rachel, why don't we start with you? Like, is there anything that stuck out to you from his experience?
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably a little closer to remembering high school than you guys are.
Rub it in. Rub it in.
But I do think it takes a little bit to kind of get your mindset back to what it was like in high school. I feel like now you look back and you're like, oh, that was so dumb. Like, why was I so worried about these things? But really, when you're in high school, I feel like these things are so important to you. And I think about even just sports. My junior year of high school, I tore my MCL, and I was on the soccer team, and that was pretty much the year that we were like, okay, we're gonna win state. Tore my MCL before the season started, and I had to sit out the whole season on the bench, and they won state that year. And to me, that was just like, oh my gosh, like this is the worst possible, like, you know, situation. Like the team actually won state, and I wasn't even able to be a part of it, but it was so transformational to like my life and my character of just being like, am I okay just sitting in the background, you know, and cheering other people on, encouraging other people. And so I feel like that was just one part of my high school career that I didn't even get to do. I can't imagine, you know, everything that they're not getting to go to prom. They're not getting to, you know, say bye to all their friends. Like, it's just a lot for a person to handle. And I feel like he just handled it he's handling it so well. And just, I'm just amazed at how he's handling it.
I mean, being, as you mentioned, further removed, I was kind of just refreshed to hear someone of that age with such a kind of, I don't know, just a grounded perspective. It wasn't kind of too far in either direction, but he was taking it very well.
Yeah. I've not hung out with, but I've been able to hear from some other high schoolers and see that they're not, you know, taking it that well. And I mentioned this to him, like, as a parent, you know, that's like a hope, all the groundwork that I'm doing with my kids. Man, that's like a dream that they would be mature enough as they're getting ready to exit my house to be able to handle those things, because bigger things are going to happen in life, and more bumps and more licks and more things that don't go the way that we would hope they went. And so I was just amazed by that in there. And yeah, just his perspective of even, you know, some of the people you don't see as often, you didn't consider that would be your last time seeing them. And there's a lot of people I don't ever see, you know, from high school, but at least there was like some closure and, you know, some of that kind of stuff where you can kind of go out with that. And so if there's things left undone or unsaid or whatnot, that you just don't get to have, some of those closures, or the prom experience and just those things that maybe as you're a kid you dream about having, and there are just expectations of what it means to be a high schooler. And so that was impressive to hear from him, and even make me think about that. I don't get to go into work every day, and so there's things I just miss, that you didn't think you would miss about sitting in your office and people popping into your office and having those kinds of conversations, that happens right now in a different way from, 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds, but it's just different when it's, people that have a different kind of conversation. And so maybe sometimes I felt that was annoying, or like, I really got to get this done, but now I'm really missing some of those things. And so
you're missing the fun interruptions.
Not even just the fun ones, but even some of them that I didn't have time for because those interruptions in my life were good. And so
that was really good perspective. And also you had a chance to get on a Zoom call with Chad, and Chad's in a different time of his life, part of a business that he kind of, helped build, and he was, let go from that. And it was a travel business, so that kind of makes sense, that those businesses are making cuts. But another really interesting perspective from someone in that position.
First, Chad, I'd just love to have you introduce yourself to I know you, but to the people that are watching this. Let us know maybe about your family, your history at CCC, and just those basic things that come to mind.
Yeah, you bet. My family, I'm married to Tara. We've been married for over 25 years. We have actually a 21-year-old today. Luke is our oldest. That's crazy that I have a 21-year-old. Logan is our 19-year-old. He's a freshman in Lincoln. We have a freshman in high school at Concordia, Jenna. And then we have our little one, our 9-year-old Natalie, who's running around. So there's 6 of us in the house, in and out. And it's been a little crazy, but we're figuring out how to navigate it and enjoy the time together, trying to make it the most valuable time that it can without killing one another. So far, we're all pretty healthy.
All live, saying, the Family of 6 Club, I'm in that too. So it is a wild club to be in. You're at a different stage.
A lot younger.
Yeah.
Everybody's bouncing all over the place.
They are. They might bounce into here sometime. And so thanks for the grace, people. So how about CCC? I know you've been, I started way back as an intern at CCC, and that's when I think I met you for the first time. Maybe you guys had recently, or I think you were an elder helping at least with the student ministry stuff, and that was really your focus and your emphasis. And maybe that wasn't that part of your career before you did some kind of student ministry stuff?
Yeah. I was a youth pastor for about 8.5 years, several different places, and then stepped into the business world, but been at Christ Community for well over 20 years. Tara and I have been back for around 16 years or so, and got back at Christ Community, but I accepted Christ in the high school group there when I was a junior, really far from God, and he got a hold of me and rocked my world, and I wanted to just run after him and serve him. And so I did that for several years in the church world, and now I'm trying to honor and glorify him in the business world. So.
Awesome. Love it. And so you're on here today not to share about all the awesome stuff happening in your life, but obviously we're in the middle of this coronavirus thing, COVID-19, and you've talked about how you've jumped, into the business world and have served God faithfully there, and really done a good job. God's been faithful to you, and you've been able to be a part of some great companies and things like that in that. But I'd love to just hear kind of what your current story is now, how coronavirus, and maybe not even just your career, but we talked about this, your family a little bit earlier. How's coronavirus affecting Chad and family right now?
Yeah. Well, I helped start a company almost 13 years ago called Sojourn. We had zero revenue, kind of a really good idea. There were 12 of us, and we grew this company into worldwide, 13 locations worldwide, $150 million in revenue, profitable year-over-year growth, great things happening, huge expansion the last couple years as we really doubled down on our travel focus and also the international focus. And the key word there is travel, though I was working on the non-travel side and also with travel advertisers. 90% of our digital online spend that we do with all the major airlines, hotels, travel brands kind of completely stopped. So because of that, we had to lay off 300 of our 600 employees. And I was one of those 300 that was laid off. So little bit of a world change from what was happening being in this business for the last almost 13 years. And now all of a sudden, within a matter of weeks, it kind of crumbled.
Yeah. And that seems like an industry that shouldn't be crumbling. You know, you're like making all the right plays and getting into this industry that's growing and digital advertising space, all of those kind of things seems like where money should be invested and people should be. And I don't think anybody saw, you know, something like this, what it could do. Like no one's traveling.
Yeah.
No hotels, no airplanes.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest product that we have is a product that as the people stay in the hotels, that it's a pay to stay model. So we run all the advertising for them, but we don't get paid unless people stay. So obviously that affected our business, but being able to scale way down. And that's why we had to let go of so many people, really, really great people. But we know travel is going to come back. We know it will rebound. Likely, hopefully we'll be able to hire a lot of those folks back. Whether I go back or not, that's in God's hands. But it was pretty amazing how quickly, within a matter of weeks, could take this amazing business that was built over years. And it makes you really think about what you're pouring into and investing into and how easily that it can be gone.
Yeah, that's good.
Or negatively affected. It's still there. Still have 300 employees that are servicing our customers right now and being prepared and ready once people start traveling again and as our advertisers start spending again.
Yeah, that's wild how fastly that could come. And so, what's it like to get I don't know how to go down, like to get a phone call, get a letter in the mail? Like, are you even thinking this, like as weeks are going on and you're seeing like, okay, this ban happened, okay, people are traveling less, like what's going through your mind as this is kind of all going down and then ultimately losing your job there?
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. I ran the central region at this time, did a lot of different things over the last 13 years, but as we've grown, we've zoned in. So I was running our whole central region. So obviously I was taking calls from some of our largest airlines and hotel partners saying, hey, we got to cut things off. We got to pause things. And so I saw the effect of the revenue and knew that we'd have to make something pretty significant happen. But I had no clue it would be at the extent of 50% of our employees. So when I got a call from the CEO and had the conversation with the VP of operations, it was pretty shocking that we had to let that many people go. And I was a little surprised, but not extremely surprised, because I saw what was happening with the revenue, and I knew we'd have to do something really drastic to just save the company, just to get it through this, this huge storm that's hitting in the travel space. So when things do pick up, we could be ready to go again. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. Talking with the CEO, and it's kind of a cool moment. I mean, I feel like God was preparing me for this. I had a feeling, not just because of this, that he was preparing me for something else potentially outside of Sojourn. And so when this happened, first of all, I thought, okay, God, like, this is an obvious next steps here in that you're working, and had the opportunity to talk to my CEO that, I'm not quite sure what his faith background is, but I did get the opportunity. The thing that popped in my mind, I thought, hey, can I pray for you? And he told me the next day that he had told his wife about that, and they just cried. That here he called to let someone go, and he asked, "Can you pray for me?" And I got a chance to pray for him. And I know that God was at work at that. I wouldn't normally think, "Hey, can I pray for you?" That you just laid me off and let me go. Yeah. But that's just how God is just mysteriously working and guiding and directing in the midst of kind of something that could be a huge tragedy.
Yeah, that's wild. I know in the church world, it'd probably be the inverse. Someone would call you in the office and be like, "Let's start this meeting in prayer." Okay. Then they would let you go graciously, tell you how it's not you, it's me, maybe pull the God card, and then just pray for your future. Usually it's not the person that just, got the axe. That's like, they're usually the one that's not super excited if they didn't see it coming, and maybe using some not nice words and things like that. So that is cool that the Spirit prompted you to do that.
Yeah, I've been on that side before, having to let people go, and that's a really hard thing. And it's really, really hard for the people that are having to let them go, especially in a situation like this where really great things were happening. Nobody got let go because of their performance. I mean, they had to just cut really, really good people. It wasn't like, hey, let's just cut the underperformers. It was like, man, we got to let go of some unbelievable folks. Over 90 here just in Omaha. We have 200 people in Omaha. So, and man, the majority of them are phenomenal. They really, really are great. So that is really hard when you're having to let someone go who is really top performer, maybe the number one performer on your team in some situations. And people that we saw that were let go, that they were the top performer on the team. But you got to make tough decisions in a time like this, and you got to figure out your runway and how much revenue you have and what you need to do to kind of help get yourself to the next step. So tough decisions.
Yeah. And you seem like Mr. Optimist here, but have there been any like why God moments? And I know you said you feel like God's been preparing you for this a little bit. And so I kind of think about that, like, if you know someone that you love is dying, right? It stinks no matter what to see them die breathe their final breath. Even if you're like hopeful that something good is going to happen and they're going to be in the arms of Jesus, it still stinks and it stings. Yeah. Have you had moments like that where you're like, okay, I trust God, he's faithful, he's good, but this just stings. This is hurtful. It's painful, all that kind of stuff. What's that like processing through that been like?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think at first, because I did see it coming, I did see the revenue, I did have the conversations with my clients slowing things down, I had a feeling something was going to be pretty drastic. But yeah, there were a lot of moments that went through like, man, put a lot of time and effort into that, and here's kind of what happened. I remember playing through some things in my mind, thinking about, I wonder if I would have readjusted roles, or hey, how come they didn't pick me to help navigate them through this, right? I think that was a big thing. And personally, I took that a little personal, because I thought, man, I could be really helpful as we navigate through this. And a little bit of the disappointment in that was pretty big. And obviously, God's in control. I know he's going to take care of us, but man, I've been to the store a few times, and I've picked things up, and I looked at the receipt a lot more, and wow, I don't think I realized you're spending that much in groceries. You know what I mean? So it starts to affect some of those things. But yeah, definitely a little bit of obviously disappointment, and wow, could I have done something different? Is it something that I did that maybe I didn't get to be a part of those 300. That was pretty tough for sure.
Yeah. And I know I was talking to another friend recently who, same kind of situation. He worked for a nonprofit that does amazing work with special needs people, and they're a nonprofit. It's like the church. When other people are losing their jobs, those dominoes are falling. And so even us as the church, like, we're looking at people and we're like, people are losing their jobs, they're giving out of that income and so on and so forth. And so how long are the dominoes going to continue to fall for the church? And we're trusting God and believing for his faithfulness. But I know for him, like the what's next question is hard, because typically you lose your job and it's like, all right, you're going to start looking, but
yeah,
people are like, yeah, we're hiring a bunch of new people right now. And so what does that look like as you kind of start to even process through what is next in life?
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I think there's a couple different pieces, right? As you are diving into your faith, you're trying to grow as close with Christ as you can, and hopefully also having a personal growth plan that you're developing, you're working through how you're growing yourself. You begin to prepare yourself for the next steps, right? And so there are a couple of things that are happening right now. There are a lot of people that lost their jobs, and you go through a lot of emotions, and you got to kind of deal with those and self-assess. And you're either going to dive into this time and you're gonna get better, right? You're gonna push into personal growth. You're gonna work your network. You're gonna try and do maybe some things that you need to do. Make sure you're spending time with your family. And there's gonna be other people that are just gonna let depression take them over, right? They're going to watch every single Netflix show that there is. They're going to get really fat and they're just going to let that go. And I think you have this opportunity to choose what you're going to do and ask for God's help through that to be able to grow and develop and add value to people. So that's been kind of a cool process to think about, to try and go through.
Yeah, that's cool. So what are just some of the ways that you've seen, God working in the middle of this? I know that story you shared with your CEO, but what are ways that he's been, prompting you in your own life personally and challenging you, but also inviting you into new opportunities to help shepherd other people, or at least have conversations with other people, those kind of things that maybe if you were just doing work as normal, wouldn't have been opportunities presented to you? Yeah,
that's really good. So I know for a while I've been wanting to start up a mentoring group with some guys at work, and hey, let's do it early before everyone comes in, and let's invest into them. And I talked to a few guys about it, but never really got it off the ground. And I thought, you know what, there's a bunch of these, some guys that are seasoned in their career and other guys that are brand new in their career. This is the first time they've ever been laid off or gone through this. And so we're meeting in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, once a week, and we're going through leadership development and seeing how they're doing. And so I'm having this opportunity to kind of mentor and shepherd some guys that I work with. And that's been really cool, having conversations with people, helping them process what's happening in their life, trying to help them find other jobs and network and connect them as well. That's been a really neat piece too. And then also, my oldest, Luke, his world was pretty tore up by this as well. He was on tour and he was doing music, and they're going into schools and they were speaking and impacting kids. And then all of a sudden that completely shut down. And now he's home when he was supposed to be out on the road, and he's starting to process. He's like, man, this is just really lonely and really hard. And it was a cool moment as even just a couple days ago, reading through the life of David, and when he was this young shepherd boy, and how that consistency compounds, right? He's out there tending to the sheep and being disciplined day after day and following through, and God was preparing him. And it's amazing how God starts to prepare you in the silence, in the quiet time, off stage, your character, your integrity, and who you're going to be, to prepare you for the on stage that he has for you. Right. Yeah. And so I told Luke, I said, and not only is it for Luke, but everyone else in this stage, me included, is, man, this is a time to develop our character and our integrity and dive in and grow when no one else is looking, when there's no applause. Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people at home who are still working from home, this is a big time. Are they going to be people integrity and dive in and try and think of other things to make their business better? Or are they going to kind of, I'll put in 2 or 3 hours instead of the 7 or 8? And are they going to really dive in? And Colossians 3:23 is, work at it with all your heart as if you're working for the Lord and not for men. So as you're thinking about, you're working for the Lord, even if you're home and you still have a job, you're working for the Lord and work for him, not the applause of men. And I've struggled with that over the years of the applause that you get from a job well done.
Amen. Me too. So yeah, that's good. That's good. Just what would you give to somebody, just thought or advice to somebody maybe who they're on the front end of this, like they're looking at their industry or whatever and the unknown that we're in, that might be sensing something happening and maybe they're going to lose their job. What would you give to them to prepare themselves? And then maybe on the back end, somebody who 2 weeks ago or today loses their job, what kind of points of hope would you give them to look at?
Yeah, I would say, man, press into this time, press into your faith, press into growing, press into your family. Look for the really good things that are happening. Be grateful, right? I'm really grateful that we're healthy and we're safe and we do have food. There are other countries where there isn't any food in the refrigerator. So I think you got to start off just being grateful and being thankful for what you do have. I think that leads a good foundation to really say, okay, Lord, I can't control this. You're in control. And I'm going to pray that you give me wisdom and insight to control the things that I can control. And then I'd say reach out, network with people, encourage one another, add value to people's lives. And I think if you start to go through those things, then you're going to be prepared and ready when the spotlight is turned back on, when the new job comes, when you're ready to go to the next situation, that you are prepared and you're ready to shine and to invest in others and just grow in your leadership during this time at home, in your community, in your relationships, and just be better all the way around.
Cool. Love it. This is kind of spur of the moment as we kind of wrap this up, but I just love to have you pray for people in that situation, that are struggling, that are about to face that situation, and then we'll say goodbye and wrap up for now if you'd be willing to do that.
Sounds awesome. I'd love to.
Thanks, man.
Alex. Father God, we just pray for everyone out there that is struggling with fear, anxiety, not sure how they're going to pay their bills. Maybe they're afraid of health issues. Maybe they lost their job or they're afraid that they could lose their job. Father, I pray that you would remind them that you are in control. You are not surprised by this, that this is just a season of us to go deeper with you. You bid us to go deeper. You call us to go deeper, that we would take advantage of the time that we have to grow, to reach out, to invest in our family and our friends. And Father God, that we would look back on this time, regardless of jobs or whatever's happening in the world. And this would be one of the most exciting times of our life from the standpoint of pouring into people, growing, and really taking an opportunity to see you move in a mighty and powerful way. And so, Father God, I just pray for them, pray for wisdom and insight for all of us, that we'd be able to love one another well, that we'd be able to honor and glorify your name. And as people look at our lives, that they see you, Jesus. And so give us hope and power and strength in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Hey, thanks, Chad, for being here, willing to share a little bit of your story. I don't know, maybe if there's somebody that's going through this and they reach out to us on the podcast and we connect them with you, you'd be willing to at least chat with them and give them some hope.
Yeah, I would love that. And I'm excited because I'd heard that when you guys started doing these podcasts, that someone had brought up to you like, hey, you should have Chad Relfs on this podcast sometime. And you had said something about, if there's a pandemic and he loses his job, maybe. Yeah. So I'm excited that pigs are flying and I finally got an invite. So you guys are doing an awesome job. Just joking. I know it's a tough time out there for everyone, but if there's a way for us to press in and find the good in what's going on,
Yeah.
We need to try and do that, but also understand it's tough and people are hurting and dying, and how can we give hope to people that are hopeless? So I'm hopeful and excited that I got to finally be on one of your podcasts. So
there you
keep
go.
up the good work, man.
Put that on your resume as you look for jobs. All right, man.
Oh, it's going on there.
We'll talk to you later.
This is fun. Take care, Alex.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah. Wow. Another perspective from someone who is a little closer in age to me. Thank you, Rachel. No, but I think that's someone who is in a place in their life where a lot of people are right now. I think one of the insights there is that people are kind of in this mix of whether they still have a job and they're working from home, or they have lost their job, or there's some that I think are in that kind of in between place where it's like, I don't know right now. Like things are just kind of waiting in the balances, and I could get that call. We started with you last time, Rachel. Alex, why don't you give us maybe a takeaway or two from your conversation with Chad?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great conversation. Chad is a great guy who's been leading the church, and I've been able to be a part of a few of his kids' lives in ministry, and so I kind of knew going into it, even though I hadn't heard his entire story, like, hey, this guy's going to be grounded, just because I've seen, that faithfulness and fruitfulness in his life before. So I wasn't shocked by probably anything I heard, but I was amazed, like I would think, because he's in a digital advertising company that works with hotels and travel, like this is the way of the future, right? Like he's in, he's not in like a past kind of a field, but he's in like a field that's working towards the future, and this is only going to keep increasing, and what a lot of kids are going to school for and things like that, and marketing and advertising. And even that, just 50 million, I don't know what he said, a lot of money, $1 company that just in a matter of weeks loses revenue and just can start to crumble.
Yeah.
And so it's just that reminder of where we put our hope, and just how feeble a lot of those things that we attach our security to really are, even if they're things that look like they're invincible and they're going to continue. So, that was I guess a little bit of a shocker or a reality. I think there's certain fields I would like, okay, I see that this would get killed or this would get hit, but I hadn't really considered, I guess, what he was doing in that kind of field, in this kind of space.
You think it's a future-proof industry, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's all online. This is safe forever, right? It's crazy. Rachel, any takeaways from you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we didn't record this in the studio, because there was one point when I just lost it. I don't know what came over me, but whenever he said that he got that phone call from his boss and like was basically being let go, and he literally asked him like, what can I be praying for you? I like lost it, because I was like, oh my gosh, like that really is like, he was like showing a true example of like the gospel in that moment. I mean, it just shows I have a huge heart for just like workforce ministry and just like being out in like businesses and whatever, and like there's a huge ministry opportunity there, and it just shows like he took that step of faith, and he said it was all God, and I just was really blown away by the fact that that was his response. And like, I don't even know if that would have been my response, to be like, hey, yeah, thanks for firing me, but I'm gonna pray for you really quick. Like that just like really blew me away, and just changed my perspective a little bit about the whole situation and things. So that really stuck out to me.
Yeah,
when I got fired from Sonic, I did not have that same perspective back in high school.
You didn't tell your boss you wanted to pray for him?
No, not at all. No, but really, I think that like you said, Rachel, that was one of those stories that was cool, and obviously you hear the Spirit working, past that as he gets the call back from the CEO the next day. And I imagine for the CEO that was a burden, knowing he's going to have to call this guy and that helped start the company and let him go. Like that's probably one of those conversations you're rehearsing in your head. You're like, how's he going to take this? How's this going to affect our relationship? All of those things. And so to be met without resistance and to be met with like grace, that was such a such a powerful thing. And so I love that Chad shared that and that he did it, and you can see like the ripples and who knows what's going to continue to happen from there. But I think that's a huge win and a huge learning maybe people can take, because he's probably not the last person that's going to go through something like that. It could happen realistically to any of us, where even the church, we don't know what's going to happen. And so that was encouraging to me and challenging to me as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the perspectives from both of these conversations were just refreshing, just because of the fact that they weren't all doom and gloom. Like, there's definitely, I think, people who are listening and in these positions right now, I hope they can take away like something from this that can kind of help inspire them, and maybe kind of help give them peace through all of this, because it is something where if you're not there, you just don't know how you're going to react. You don't know what you're going to feel, the things you're going to think. And we're, obviously we're not here to tell you that, but hopefully that you can take something from these stories that'll kind of inspire you.
Yeah. One of the themes I heard in both of those was integrity, and so I heard both of them bring that up, that in this moment, in this time in our lives where it would be easy to not have integrity, to not live like a life when no one's watching, when the spotlight's not on, all of those kind of things. It's easy to coast. It's easy to feel bad for ourselves. It's easy to mope and just hope that we get through the other side of this. But both of them really talked about how God's working their lives to be able to focus on their integrity when no one's watching and when no one's listening and when they're not applying for jobs or whatnot. And so I thought that was cool, and just even a unifying, thing that I think even God's Spirit was maybe just for me working in that of, remember, man, how valuable integrity is in our lives. And so that was a cool theme that tied both together, at least for me, that I took away from each of those stories. And both stories, they really stink. I mean, I don't even think either of them even let themselves talk about how like, to me, I want to complain for both of them, like how it's not fair and how it's not right. Like, if I'm a freshman going into college, even though he's got that hopeful thing, like, now I got to fight even harder because I was trying to get him to whine a little bit, actually. More, and like he wouldn't, and so they wouldn't take the bait. And so that was just powerful to me, as well. There's a lot of things that could spiral out of control in each of those situations that they could be non-hopeful about, and really chalk up as woe is me, but neither of them took that road, which was encouraging to me and also convicting to me, because I wanted to take that road for them.
Yeah.
And that's often the road that's easy to take in those kind of situations. So,
yeah, that's really good. All right. I think that does it for us today. Thanks guys again for joining me here. Thanks to our guests, Chad and Colton. Awesome to hear from you. But if you have any questions for us, or if you would like to, I think Alex, you even mentioned, if Chad would be happy to talk to people going through the same situation. So if you want to reach out to us for any reason, you can email us at podcast@cccomaha.org, or you can reach out to us on social media at cccomaha. We'd love to hear from you, but until next time, we'll talk to you all then.